አደራጀቱ ጉዳይ በውስጥ የሚሰራ ነው የራሱ ይሄንን እዚህ ላይ የሚሰራ አካል የሚሰራው ነው ግን ስለታሰሩት ፋኖች እና ስለ ቤተሰቦቻቸው አንደኛው መልስ እንግዲህ በዶክተር ኢንገስ ፕሬዘንቴሽን ኦልሬዲ ተመልሷል ሄሮስ ፋሚሊ ፕሮጀክት አለ በተለይ እንደምታውቁት ልዩ ኃይል መከላከያ በሚሰሩበት ጊዜ ከመንግስት እንግዲህ በቂ ነው አይደለም ሌላ ነገር እንዳለ ሆኖ ጡረታም አለው በተወሰነ ደረጃ ለሚሊሻዎች ሚዛን ያህል የሚታሰባለ በቂ ሆኖ ሳይሆን ማለት ነው ግን ለፋኖች ምንም አይነት ኮምፐንሴሽን አይሰጥም ተነስተው በራሳቸው ጊዜ ራሳቸውን መሳሪያ ይዘው አንዳንድ ጊዜ እዛ ላይ በሚሰጣቸው ጊዜ ህይወታቸውን ሰውተው በሚሄዱበት ጊዜ ብዙዎቹ ጀግኖቻችንን እንደሰማችሁት በአራቱም አቅጣጫ ኢሚዲየትሊ ወዲያው ነው ለችግር የሚጋለጡት ባለቤቶቻቸው ልጆቻቸው ምክንያቱም ምንም አይነት ታስቦ ከመንግስት የሚቆረጥላቸው ነገር የለም ለዛ ነው ይሄ ሂሮስ ፋሚሊ ወይም ጎልደን ፋሚሊ ወይም ደግሞ የጀግኖች ቤተሰቦች ፕሮጀክት አስፈላጊ ሆኖ ስራ እየሰራ ያለው ቀጥታ ከዲቴሉን ያው ዶክተር ኢንገስ ጋር አይ ቲንክ ፕሬዘንቴሽኑን ራሄል ላፕቶፕ ላይ ይመስለኛል እዛው የተወው ዲሊት አላደረገውም እዛ ላይ ዲቴሉ አላችሁ ግን የፕሮጀክት ማኔጀሮች አሉ አንዳንድ ጊዜ ቀጥታ ከቤተሰቦች ጋር የመገናኘት ሁኔታ አለ በጣም ፉሊ ትራንስፓረንት ነው ልክ የአሳዳጊ ወይም ደግሞ አባትና እናቶቻቸው የሞቱባቸውን ህፃናት እንደሚሰራው እንደ ኦርፋን ፕሮጀክት የዚህ ሄሮስ ፋሚሊ ፉሊ ትራንስፓረንት በሆነ መንገድ ነው የሚሰራውና ቤተሰቦቻቸው እንዴት እናገዛለን ለሚለው ኦልሬዲ መልስ ያለው ነገር ነው የታሰሩትን በሚለው እንደምታውቁት አያም ፋኖ የሚለው ግሎባል ሙቭመንት የተጀመረበት ዋናው ምክንያት ግንቦት መጨረሻ ላይ በጣም በሚያስደነግጥ ሁኔታ ራሱ መንግስት ባመነበት ሁኔታ ከ5000 ሰው በላይ በአንድ ጊዜ ከተለያየ ቦታ አሰሩ ከዛም አልፎ ፋኖች ላይ ቀጥታ ጥቃት መድረስ ጀመረ በተለያየ ቦታ በወልዲያ በሞጣ በመራዊ ሸዋሮቢት ጎንደር አካባቢዎች አንድ እንደውም ማቀው አንድ ታሪክ በጣም የሚገርመኝ የተሸለሙ ፋኖች ለሁለት ከፋፍለው እነዚህ አልዘመቱ ምን ሲሉ የነበሩት እንዳለ ሆኖ ከዘመቻ ተመልሶ ፋኖ እንደምታውቁት ኖርማል ለሁላችንም ኢንጂነሮች አስተማሪዎች ገበሬዎች መካኒኮች ናቸው ግን ኑ ሲባሉ ነገር ጥለው ነው ለሀገርና ለህዝብ የሚሰለፉት ይህ ፋኖ ተመልሶ መጥቶ ሆቴሉን ማስተዳደር በጀመረበት ከተሸለመበት ነው ከደቡቢውን ከሰሜን ጎንደር ትዘለኝ ዞሮ አንስተው ያሰሩት እና በትልልቅ ካምፔን ነው ፋኖች ከኢንዲቪጁዋል እስከ ግሩፕ አታክ የተደረጉት ማለት ነውና ለዛም ነው ግሎባሊ ፋኖ በሚል ሙቭመንት በተለያየ ቦታ ሁላችሁም ነባዳን በተሳተፈበት መልኩ አዌርነስ በመፍጠር የተጀመረው እዛ ላይ ግን አላቆመም በዲፕሎማሲ ስራ ላይ አሁን ከ24000 በላይ እንግዲህ እንደ ሻለቃ መሳፍንት እንደተናገሩት የሚታወቅ 14000 ቁጥሩን ከዛ በላይ ነው ያሉት ሰምታችኋል ቪዲዮ ላይ በተለያዩ እስር ቤቶች አባንደንድ በሆኑ ፋክተሪዎች የታሰሩ በየቦታው አሉና አድቮካሲ ስራውን ዲፕሎማሲ ስራውን ስማቸውን የምንችለው ስማቸው ሊስት እየተደረገ እንዲገባ ተደርጓል ጫና መፍጠር በፖለቲካ መጠንቀቅ መደራጀት የሚያስፈልገው ለዚህ ነው የማስፈታት አጭርና ቀላል መንገድ የለውም ግፊት ሲበዛበት መንግስት የግድ ህዝብ ማስደሰት ይጀምራል ህዝብ ካልገፋው ግን የፈለገውን ያገገ ይቀጥላል ስለዚህ ትግሉ ግፊቱ መቀጠል ያለበት ያንን እነሱ ማስፈታት እንዲቻል ነው ከዛ በተረፈ ግን ፋኖ እንዴት ነው የምናደራጀው አንገት የሚያስደፋ ጉዳይ አይደለም የተጠቃ ጄኖሳይድ የዘር ማጥፋት እየተደረገበት ያለበት ማህበረሰብ እየተደበቀ አይደለም ያን ያህል ሚስጥራዊ የሚሆንበት ምክንያት ተደራጅቶ ራስን ዲፌንድ ማድረግ ኢሊጋል ወይም ደግሞ ወንጀል ስለሆነ ሳይሆን ያ ሲደረግ ራሱ ጠላት ማወቅ ስለሌለበት ነው ስለዚህ በየትንንሹ ቅድም ወንድሜ ብሎታል እንዴት ነው አንደርግራውንድ የምንደራጀው በትንንሽ ግሩፖች ኔትወርክ እየሰሩ ራስን መከላከል ይሄ ህጋዊ ነው እስራኤሎችም ኩርዶችም ማንም የተሳደደ ማህበረሰብ ያደረገው ስለሆነ ለመደባበቅ ወንጀል ስለሆነ ሳይሆን ምስጢር ለመጠበቅ ሲባል በትንንሽ ግሩፖች እየተደራጁ ራስን መጠበቅ ያስፈልጋል ማለት ነው ከዛ ሌሎቹ ጓዶቼ መልሱታል ስለ ሪፕሬዘንቴሽን እና ስለ ኢንክሉድ አማራ ኢኒሺዬቲቭ ወስዶ ወደፊት የገፋው ትሪፕል ኤ ነው ስለዚህ አቶ ቴድሮስን ጋብዛለሁ እሱን እንዲመልስ ሌላ ማናየያየ ስለ ሪፕሬዘንቴሽን ያነሳውና ቴዲ እሱን ከበር ያደርገዋል ያለው ቴንኪዩ ስለ ጄኖሳይድ ወንፈል ስለሚሰራው ስለ ሪፕሬዘንቴሽኑ መጀመሪያ መስገነናል በጣም መታወቅ አለበት በፍጹም አንድ ሰው እንኳን ሊንቀሳቀሰው ወደፊት ለመናገር የሚከብድ ጉዳይ ነውና ብዙ እልፎች ለሊትና ቀን ቁጭ ብለው የሚሰሩ የቲሞቻችን አባላት አሉ በፍጹም አንድ ሰው ክሬዲት የሚወስድበት አይደለም ግን በእነሱ ስም ያንዳንዶቻችሁ ሁላችሁም ራሳችሁን ታውቃላችሁ ምን ለሊቱን ሙሉ ቁጭ ብላችሁ እንደምትሰሩ በእናንተ ስም እንግዲህ ምስጋናውን እቀበላለሁ ማለት ነው የቲም ሜምበሮቼን ማለት ነው ሌላ አሁንም ስለ ኤሌክሽን የተነሳውን ስለ ሪፕሬዘንቴሽን የተነሳውን ቴዲ ከበር ያደርገዋል ስለ ወንፈልም እንደዚሁ ይንገስ ቴንክ
Okay. I think ፋናን ማደራጀት በሚባለው ላይ ሰናይ ስለሌለችበት ብዙ ባይጨምርበት ጥሩ ነው። እየታሰረ ነው ይሄ ምንድን ነው ሲፈቱ የሚጠይቋቸው በዘመን ዘመን ቤተሰቦቻቸውን ማሳደድ ዋስ መጠየቅ የማሸማቀቅ አንዱ መንገድ ነው እና ያንን ማገዝ በሞራላዊ የትን ለመስጠት ለቆረጠ ሰው ቢያንስ ለቤተሰቡ ትልቅ አስተዋጽኦ ይኖረዋል። አይ ቲንክ ሌላውን ሰናይ ዘውድ ሄደዋለች። እኔ አሳጥሬ ያው ወደ ነው ተወው ጥያቄው የሪፖርተራችን የወንፈል ሪፖርት www.wonfel.org ብዙ ይኖራል። አንዳንዱ አፕዴትድ ያልሆነ ነገር ካለ ይሄን የምታዩት ነገር በሙሉ ይኖራል። እዛ ላይ በፒዲኤፍ ፋይል ይኖራል። ይሄኛው ዛሬ ፕሬዘንት ያደረኩት ኮፒው ከፈለጋችሁ ወደፊት ከፈለጋችሁ በፒዲኤፍ ፋይል ኮምፒውተሩ ላይ ነው። አይ ቲንክ የመስፍን ኮምፒውተር ይመስለኛል እዛው ላይ ትቼው ነው የሚሄደው። ምክንያቱም ይሄ ፓብሊክ ኢንፎርሜሽን ነው የሚጠብቅነት ማለት ነው። ዌብሳይታችን የሚቀርብ ነገር ነው። በተወሰነ ደረጃ ብዙ ትዊተር ላይ ያካፈልነው ነው እና ያ ኮፒ ይኖራቸዋል። ለወደፊቱ ያግዛችሁ ከሆነ ብለን ነው የምናምነው። $100 አንድ ሰው ይስጥ፣ $10 ይስጥ፣ ምን ለውጥ እንዳመጣ ማወቅ ላይ የሚፈልግ ያንን አማራጭ ይዞ መቅረብ እንዳለ ድርጅት የሚጠበቅበት ነው ያደረግነው። አመሰግናለሁ።
So, regarding the questions about the Amhara People's Negotiation Delegation, this process is probably a year's work in the making. When we realized that there might be a situation where there's going to be a negotiation, the Amara Association America team really responded to action and started bringing this issue up with the State Department and also other members of Congress. In December of 2021, AAA had a meeting with Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary Irv Masinga. He's the number 2 in the Bureau of African Affairs of the State Department, who raised many issues, but this was one of the issues that he brought up. And then in March of 2022, AAA facilitated a meeting with Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary Irv Masinga and all FANA member organizations, and Amara Association and Nevada participated in that meeting to bring up a lot of issues related to Amaras, including demanding that Amaras be in the negotiation, if there's going to be any negotiation. We followed, and then we had other meetings about this with members of Congress. We issued a statement on July 1st that was well received. And then followed on August 19th, 28 Amara organizations from here in the US, Canada, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Ethiopia wrote a letter to all the special envoys demanding that Amaras be represented in any peace process of the negotiations. Now, why was AAA very active in this? I'm going to come back to that a little bit. But So put all this into place. While that was happening, we were meeting with leaders of Amara organizations, both civic and also Amara opposition political party members in Ethiopia about this issue. There was all of them. Not one person, not one individual said no. All of them said, we have to be at that table. We have to be at that table. Bring it together. So all of these individuals, you know, I spoke with Masfred about this, your leader here. I spoke with Sunlight about this. I spoke with Genghis about this. I spoke with Amara leaders all across the world about this issue. And the response was, yes, we must be at that table. Because if you're not at that table, bringing your agenda and your issues, somebody's bringing their agenda and their issues, and they're going to negotiate your issues. And so because of that, we ended, and this was a very inclusive process. And this was also a process to help unify our people. And we were able to select delegates that had broad-based support across all Amaras to represent Amaras in any negotiation. And there's also a team of Amaras. These are people, you know, leaders of civic organizations, activists, and also opposition political party members that were willing to help support this delegation. So it's a very strong team. Now, why did we do this? In the early 1990s, there was a negotiation between the TPLF and the Oromo Liberation Front. Amaras were not at that table. What happened afterwards? It was a genocide. If we're not at that table, again, it can repeat itself. We're seeing an active genocide right now. The parties or actors that are involved in this negotiation is the Tigray People's Liberation Front and the Prosperity Party. It's not the Ethiopian government. Not one time has the Ethiopian parliament taken up this issue. They have not discussed this issue. They have not debated this issue. They have not approved the negotiations with the Tigray People's Liberation Front. The Ethiopian parliament has not removed the TPLF, which is as a designated terrorist organization. The Ethiopian parliament has not approved the individuals that are supposed to be negotiating with the TPLF. This was the people that were selected to negotiate with the TPLF. Our Prosperity Party members, this is all completely an Abiy-led Prosperity Party initiative. It is not an Ethiopian government initiative. So the two parties that are responsible for Amara genocide are negotiating what? Amara issues, Amara agenda. Is that something that we can allow again? Are we going to allow history to repeat itself? Think about it. Do you want to risk Abiy and the Prosperity Party and the TPLF to negotiate Wolkite? Do you want Abiy and the Prosperity Party and the TPLF to negotiate Raya? Do you want Abiy and the Prosperity Party and the TPLF to negotiate the ethnic apartheid system? The TPLF created the ethnic apartheid system to establish Tigray hegemony. Abiy Ahmed is using the same ethnic apartheid system to create what? Oromo hegemony. Look what's happening in Addis Ababa. Do you want to live? Do you want to risk Abiy and the Prosperity Party and the TPLF for justice and accountability for Amara genocide? Do you want to, how can the parties that are responsible for injustice be dependent on to provide justice? They can't. They would rather give each other clemency so they can't be held accountable. And not just what's happened to Amaras over the past 4 years, but over the past 30 years. Do you want to risk the chance of Abiy and the Prosperity Party and the TPLF to negotiate and discuss Mateka? They're not even going to bring up Mateka. What about Addis Ababa? They're not going to bring up Addis Ababa. What about Dera? What about all of Shua? They're not even going to bring that up. So the reason to be at that table is so we can bring our own agenda. The agenda of Amaras is unique and different from the agenda of the Prosperity Party. The agenda of Amaras is unique and different from the agenda of the TPLF. We have our own interests. We have our own issues. Are you all proud Ethiopians? If you all are proud Ethiopians, don't you think that Amaras should be involved and engaged in the future of Ethiopia? Should we stand on the sideline? When we stood on the sideline in the 1990s, it's because of that we have the Ethiopia that we are right now. We are the ones, we care deeply about the sovereignty of Ethiopia. We care deeply about the stability of Ethiopia. We care deeply about the continuation of Ethiopia. So you have Tigray People's Liberation Front that wanted to liberate themselves from Ethiopia and secede and create their own state. Do you want to risk the TPLF to negotiate the future of Ethiopia? So, do you want to risk Abiy and Prosperity Party to negotiate the future of Ethiopia without Amaras? That's why we have to be at that table. And it's important that all of you be active in that. The demand to be at that table, the establishment, the creation of the Amara People's Negotiation Delegation is a bold move by Amaras. It is a bold move. It is something different. It is something unexpected. But when there is a genocide being committed against you, you have to be bold. You have to be aggressive. You can't just wait for something to end when you're being killed simply because of your Amara identity. Amaras are not being killed because they're Ethiopians. They're not being killed because they're Christians. They're not being killed because they're Muslims. They're being killed simply because they're Amaras. And that's the truth. So there is no negative impact. The issues that Amaras would bring to the table are a lot. They're unique to us. And that's why each and every one of you need to support it. If you want to know what's going on and you want to keep up, it's critically and important that you follow the Facebook account and Twitter accounts of the Amara organizations, of AAA, GPE, of WNFA. That's how you keep updated and know what you should be doing. But there's other things that you can do. You can contact your members of Congress. You can contact your candidates to demand that Amaras be represented. PBS was here. You can reach out to journalists. You can be active on social media. And explain to other Amaras who might be confused. When they see these issues that I listed, it would make sense to them. So, we as leaders, who put ourselves as leaders, have a historical obligation to not make the same mistake again. You all have a historical obligation to not allow this to repeat itself again and be engaged. That's why we're doing this. ጥያቄ ተጨረሰ? ሌላ
እንግዲህ ጥያቄዎቻችን ያለቁ ይመስለኛል። ሌላ ተጨማሪ ጥያቄ ቴዲ ካልፈለገ በስተቀር then I think we should go to the next and you will be the first to